Okay, so for a lot of us, when we look at the elementary English language arts standards or any standards, we maybe don't know where to begin. But Nearpod is an amazing resource that can turn this document or any document that has listed standards in them into an incredibly useful resource. Let me kind of work you through this. So we're going to scroll down here. Again, this is ELA. These are the English Language Arts standards. And if we were to scroll into these standards and take a little bit of a closer look at them, what we would see is that these descriptions of the standards are helpful, but this little code right here is pretty amazing. First of all, the LA code is just the NAD's code for language arts. That's what it means. It means language arts. That won't correlate to any Common Core state standard, usually referred to as the CCSS standard. But everything else is a CCSS standard right here. So KRF1. So what you really could do, practically speaking, is ignore the LA part and just look at the grade level, the next piece here, and then the number at the end. To be clear, the second part of the code actually refers to always the grade level right here, K, so this would obviously be kindergarten, so on and so forth. That's pretty obvious. The third part of the code actually refers to the particular language arts domain. In this case, RF is referring to the domain for reading foundations. And then the fourth part of the code refers to a particular skill within the language arts domain. So that's the coding system. So if you knew, for example, that you had a fifth grader needing to focus on a standard as it pertained to, let's say, did I say fifth grader? Phonics and word recognition. What I would do is I would take this code right here, 5 for fifth grade, RF for reading foundations, and then number 1, so 5 RF1, and take this code and put it into Nearpod. And as you can see, that is what I've done. I've taken 5 fifth grade RF reading foundations, point 1. I have gone ahead and limited it to English language arts, English language arts and the fifth grade. But what it does here is it's produced lessons that correlate to that content. And actually, when I clicked lessons, I needed to reset this here, it looks like. Fifth grade, I apologize. Here we go. If we come back here, you can see, in fact, here identifying single words, literary genres, craft and structure, signal words, it says here, definitions. Obviously, for phonics, you're not going to have a lot of stuff in fifth grade, but these codes start to get really exciting in ELA standards that aren't related to phonological awareness. Let me show you what I mean here. So I've jumped down here to the fifth grade standards, and this is actually in literature now, reading literature. So we're outside of just basics reading foundations. But I'm looking here at the fifth grade 5.RL1, and I popped it into Nearpod, and look what I have here. These lessons on making inferences, informational text, making inferences in fiction. And if we wanted to, for example, preview these, that would be smart. Not all content on Nearpod is going to be appropriate for your classroom, but you can go through and look at all the information there that is going to correlate directly to that standard and fulfill the requirement you have to cover it. Here's a click and drag activity. Again, it looks like you have text and then the inference you would make back and forth, a little worksheet. And then some open-ended questions that go along with the reading, all of them correlating back to, this standard right here. Nearpod also works with your elementary science standards, your high school standards too, because the NAD didn't only create their own coding system, but they also made sure to correlate their standards to the NGSS, or the Next Generation Science Standard 2. So again, this resource now turns into an incredible document that can be correlated if you're working with Nearpod into creating really, really great and interesting and fun lessons. So let's take a standard here in 6th through 8th grade science. This is physical science. The big kind of idea that we're looking at here is motion, stability, forces, and interactions. And we're going to take this standard right here, the PS.8. So we take this 8.ps8, we hop over to Nearpod and we type that in. And sure enough, we have all these lessons. Not only do we have lessons, we have assessments embedded into them. We have fun educational videos that are provided as well as an egg experiment here to demonstrate the concept of inertia. All of these correlating to 8th grade. But look at, we'll click on this one and preview it. Newton's first law of motion. There's also related content over here to the side as well. Preview the lesson. It gives you a little bit info on what the teacher's going to need to teach it. And then we have the essential question: how and why does an object's motion change? Today's lesson kind of goes through, it's going to be 10 minutes of engaging and exploring, 25 minutes to explain and elaborate, and then a 10-minute evaluation at the end. And then off we go. But all of this correlates back to that standard right here. So again, this document is maybe not as scary as we originally thought it was. Another amazing way that Nearpod allows you to build background knowledge through virtual experiences is the thousands of virtual field trips you can take. A trip of Italy, a trip to Cuba. Let me just show you the preview here on this one so you can get an idea of what that looks like. Well, what's great about these field trips is they also provide teacher guides that help to guide through the experience of this virtual field trip. I'm going to see if I can actually get to the virtual slide here that lets you look around. Here we go. But there's these 360-degree pictures that are taken as you take a tour of Cuba, and kids can look around and kind of explore and be immersed in that environment. Nearpod also has an incredible library of content that really gets into digital citizenship and literacy, and these are incredible training resources to put your kids through if they're going to be working online on resources, so that they can understand some of the dynamics associated with working in an online environment and what it means to be a good digital citizen. So Nearpod is a paid subscription. They have different levels that you could look at using, but it is a powerful tool that you can use not only for introducing concepts and ideas, but also in reinforcing things that you're teaching out of the textbook, and also being able to just type in a code out of a standard from your list of standards and be able to have just a wealth of teaching opportunities presented right there in front of you. Nearpod, really, really great resource.